The recording started.
Thanks, Donna.
Councillor Sam Millen. Okay.
Sorry, I'm having a problem with my laptop. I've got to use my phone. I'd just like to declare an interest regarding I'm the president convener of the GMB Union for the NHS sector. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Gilmer.
Yeah, just I'm a member of Unite, so just to declare an interest. At the moment, I'm personally a member of Unite, the union, so just get that on record. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Lisa Marie Hughes.
Thanks, Chair. Can I declare a connection as a member of Unison? And just to both of my previous colleagues should be declaring a connection as well, because we don't have a financial interest and it lets them stay. If we declare an interest, we have to leave, gentlemen.
You're absolutely correct, Lisa. Slip of the tongue. I do apologise.
Okay.
Don't want you getting tucked out.
Thank you very much, councillors. We've kind of jumped a wee bit ahead, so I just want to start with welcome everyone. And if there's any apologies from anyone from Unison, it's Mark Ferguson. I don't know if he's already sent an email in, but Mark Ferguson. Julie.
Hi, Stephen. I've not had any other apologies submitted.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, first item of business is the health and safety and wellbeing activities. Is that you, Stevie?
Yeah, it is. Thanks for that, Chair. This report details the activities that's happened across the council since the last JCB. It's in the same format and it highlights some of the key health, safety, wellbeing stuff that's been going on. There's a continuation on of one of the things I'd like to draw attention is a continuation of the Bet You Can Help stuff, which really supports from the people who are experiencing problems with gambling. We're taking that a step further. We're making it an iLearn course, but just as I was talking today to some of the team, it's back with RCA just to get their approval, and we're going to turn into a toolbox talk that we can take further and deliver into the kind of frontline staff because they don't always get the access to do that sort of side of it. The rest of the report kind of details some of the other kind of key activities where there's governance arrangements, like, for instance, the health and safety teams, health and safety inspections, the work that we're doing in relation to the construction events across the council, with most recently being down at the bridge and looking at how we take that over from the contractors and turn into an operation aspect for the council on a day-to-day business part. So we're heavily involved in that. But I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Okay. Is there any questions for Stephen on that report? Councillor Doig?
It's great to hear the work you're doing with the gambling problems. That's a new one to take up, and very good work on that, Stephen. I also like the bit I want to refer to is your health and wellbeing training that you're doing, and the mental health first aiders. How many do we have in the council now, and do all the departments have at least one of them now?
Yeah, at this moment, Councillor, every service has a number of mental health first aiders at the minute. It's quite sparse in some services, and we're continuing to do that on. Because there's a change in people moving around services, we have approximately 91 at the moment on our records, Councillor Doig, and we do push out the training. We're actually arranging further training this morning with Douglas Johnson from the HSCP. He's going to run a course in September for us. So again, we'll be advertising that and promoting it, and we're going along to the kind of all heads, the head teachers, primary teachers, and early learning centre heads meeting on the 30th of April. And again, we'll be pitching for to see if there's anyone interested there that would like to take up the role and try and make sure we get one in every school, which we don't have at this time. But
Thanks
Well,
so
that's
much,
great.
Stephen.
That's great work, Stephen. Fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. Councillor Nicholson.
Thanks very much. It's just a follow-on from Councillor Doig's point there. I think it's great to see all the innovative stuff that's been done in terms of helping our staff whenever they need any kind of support with anything. And it was really when you were saying that there were 91 mental health first aiders, and I suppose that's compared to what would you hope for? Because I think 91's great. It's a really good outcome in terms of that. But I'm not sure what the potential would be. What would the ultimate be in terms of it, and like every school or whatever? What are the numbers like we're talking about? Thanks.
Okay, come back on that, could we?
Yeah,
Thank you. Ideally, I think at the moment, if I look at every property across the council, councillor, there's approximately 245 premises in the council. So my intention would be to have one in each one of them. However, not all of those premises are occupied on a daily basis. So it's trying to make sure that we've got the more populated areas. So and working in partnership with our teams in One Wren, because we make sure the town halls where we've got shared services in there, the likes of the Charleston Centre where it's HSCP and council. So the intention is to try and get to as much as the populated areas as we could, and certainly across all of the school estates. So that would certainly take us up to about 150, 180 at least. And if I can get that, that would be absolutely brilliant. That would be a utopia, councillor. But I'm quite happy with the numbers at the moment, because being mindful that the mental health first aiders are a signpost sort of process.
Yep.
Then we back that up. We're occupational health and we're employee counselling, and further to that, we're extending on the employee counselling contract this year. We're looking to turn that into a full employee assistance programme later in the year, which will offer a lot more supports, including a lot of digital wellbeing that we can target and access into, which then means that for those who don't always have access into the mental health first aiders, there will be a digital resource available 24/7, 365 that doesn't matter when and what or even who, because it could be support for the family. They can tap into that as well. So that's the intention going forward.
That's really great to hear. Thanks very much.
Any more questions for Stephen? No. Thanks so much, Stephen, for that report. Moving on to item 2 is details of grievances. Is that you, Ruth?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Item 2 is an update for the board providing an overview of the current grievance cases across the services as at the end of March, beginning of April 2025. And what the report shows is that there's been a reduction since the last board in February of 2 cases, so it's now down to 8 throughout the entire council. All at different stages of the grievance procedure. But as always, HR are working with management, unions and employees to make sure any concerns at all are, addressed and resolved at the earliest point. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Ruth? No. Moving on to item 3, agency workers. You again.
That's me again. Thank you, Chair. Yes, so item 3 is an update for the board, providing an overview of the agency workers being utilised across the services, and that's as at the end of February, because March hadn't finished, by the time we had to produce the information. As we spoke about at the last meeting, there's a wee bit more information now around vacancies, etc. But what it's showing us, compared with the February board, is that we have a reduction in 15 agency workers across the council. So we're down to 141, covering 112 roles. And as we've said at all the meetings, staff are offered extra hours first and looking at other options of, casuals and sessionals before we look at agency workers. So they're only used when absolutely necessary, when we're recruiting or short time cover, etc. Again, happy to answer questions, but just to point out, we've noticed when this was published, the third one down, you have to guess what the designation was, the job title. It's housekeeper. It was in our Word version, and I don't know what's happened when it's been PDF'd, but we'll look out for that the next time. But that's the missing job title, 3 down from the top. Happy to take questions. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Gilmore.
Thanks. Probably one for Ruth, convener. I actually thought that in building safety, there's a thing called a ghost, Ruth. They had a few people on that get paid when they're on the books. So I thought we might have some ghosts there, but surely not. Surely not. My question really is regarding just the points you've made about recruitment. I noticed in the finance board this morning we're heading for 1.5 million underspend on staff costs in the environmental services and housing. So really just maybe a horizon scan from you on recruitment going forward to try and reduce these agency numbers, because I realise how the system works, but it'd be great to get people into full-time work. Obviously, as a union member, that I'm pretty keen to see people offer full-time jobs. And it amazes me that Renfrewshire Council's, I think, a fairly good employer, good conditions to work for, pensions, etc. So it amazes me that people wouldn't think of jumping out an agency at the drop of a hat and coming to work for Renfrewshire Council. So I don't know if you can give me any information on that. I think particularly in environmental, I see there's I know certainly within refuse collection there's been issues with drivers and stuff like that, and staff and sicknesses and injuries. Obviously, I mean that happens. It's a physical job, but obviously if we were recruiting with that sort of underspending recruiting, I'd like to see guys back into individuals into full-time employment. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks, Convener. That's my question.
Thank you, Councillor Gilmore. That is absolutely the priority, is to get people into jobs. And there's a lot of the roles that you're seeing being covered here have probably been on this for quite some time on this report, but the numbers are much, much better than they used to be because it was a real problem. We're finding that we're starting to get a lot more interest in posts again, but for a lot of these posts, they're advertised quite regularly. It's just, as you say, unfortunately, there's sometimes a lot of turnover in these roles where thankfully a lot of them are moving into other roles within the council. It's not that we're losing people all the time, but certainly the agency workers are only used when we are recruiting. They're not used instead of recruiting for short-term cover for maybe specialised roles. And other than that, that is the agency workers, but that's absolutely our preference. And as you know, the agency workers have an opportunity to apply for the roles whilst they're working with us. We do find in a lot of cases that a lot of the agency workers like to keep the hours that they've got doing agency and don't want to come into the permanent roles. And we've found that across a lot of the roles, they actually like being able to say when they want to work and when they don't want to work, because it's definitely, whilst they're in, it's something that we encourage them to do. If we've got adverts running at the time, we'll say to them, if you're looking for a permanent role here, we'll point you to My Job Scotland. But there's a lot of effort going into it, and as I said, compared with possibly a few months ago, the numbers that we're having to use of agency workers is drastically reduced. So I hope that helps answer your question, Councillor.
Councillor Nicholas.
Thanks. My questions always follow something that somebody else asked. I'm sorry about that, Ruth. But it's just in terms of, first of all, it's great to see the figures are coming down in terms of the agency use. But secondly, if you are trying to recruit and actually you've got the opportunity to offer an agency worker who's already doing the job, some work with us that should be permanent, full-time or part-time, whatever they're looking for, do we pay a premium to the agency for releasing them from their contract?
Yes, there's normally, if they come through the agency, yes. If they were to apply off their own back for there's no cost. But if they come as being presented through the agency, there will be a cost. Yes. Okay,
that's fine. But still, in terms of a difficult to recruit post, if you don't have any alternative, if they're satisfactory and undertaking the tasks.
Yeah, but we wouldn't just offer it to an agency worker. We would put out an advert and we would maybe point them in the direction to do that, to apply via that. Yeah.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions for Ruth? Okay. Thank you very much, Ruth, for those reports.
Thank you, Chair.
Moving on to item 4, which is date of the next meeting, which will be held on the 12th of June 2025. So I think it's all for me to say is thank you very much for your attendance and try and go out and enjoy some of this long-awaited sunshine if you can. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Convener.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Stop the recording.